What's that? Oh, you're talking to Alexa, right? Yep. Good morning. Oh, Justin, I wish I could play sonnets. God, be satisfying.
Ooh, that's sexy.
I don't see it. Did you press record?
I didn't. Now it's recording. Somehow. Okay, do it again.
But it is recording. It's just the video that doesn't record.
Yeah.
Breathe it out. 3, 2, 1.
Sometimes I just miss my own hands, I think. Like, I used to be coordinated and play sports, and now, like, yeah.
So it's Floppy CAD Hands.
It's the CAD. It's my CAD hands. CAD caps. Do you send your significant other friends, like, all CAD cap text?
Shouting CAD speak.
Mm-hmm. CAD caps.
Yeah. What's happening?
I was the lucky person to find a bug in the Fanic post that crashed the YCM yesterday. Rapid plunge, straight Z, pulverized a 3/8 carbide tool straight into the pallet.
Oh no. Not your beautiful shiny palette, I hope.
Not the big one, but a new one that I was making for the risers.
Yeah.
I'm still digging through. So far, I think nothing is wrong. I have not machined anything. The spindle, as far as I can tell, without like more sophisticated tools of like a ball bar attached or something. I don't even know. Never had to do this before. But like the run out on the taper's fine. Tools run out fine. It seems to be decently XY oriented to the table, and like my palette didn't move as far as I can tell. The only thing that seems to have changed, which is real creepy, is all of my tool heights are now like 6 thou, 0.006 longer than they should be. So I'm retool heighting all my tools, and they're all averaging, I'm keeping a spreadsheet, roughly 6 thou longer. So that tells me that something moved. Not a good feeling.
So it was a hard vertical crash.
Yeah, this is why I wanted my audio to play, because I will. You can hear it here.
Oh. Oh.
What the fuck?
Oh my god.
Right? It shook the machine. Like the camera in that room shook that I got that audio from. And Ricky came running in yelling, "Are you all right?" He's like, that was afterwards. Yeah. He's like, that was the scariest noise I've ever heard here. It's like the first scary thing I heard. And I was like, yeah, it was pretty terrible. Like, pretty terrible noise.
Sheesh.
Rough afternoon. It like shook my entire confidence in all of Fusion. Like, all I knew about machining, because I was just like, here's the crazy part. It simulates fine still. There's no simulation errors. It is literally a bug in safe start all operations, which I started using last week, so you could restart mid-program. So it cancels all things at the beginning of a program, so like each operation. So I was doing a flat operation with the 3/8 NML, and then it was going to a 2D contour with the same tool, the same file, and it safe started there at the top of the operation. So it canceled all the offsets, brought it up to the top, but instead of setting the tool offsets again, it first rapided straight down to the wrong height plane because there was no tool height offsets until after the rapid move.
Right.
And apparently I'm the first one to figure this out in all of the Fanic post users of Fusion. I don't understand how that's possible,
how could that be?
But I'm the lucky. I hope I get a bonus for that. I like a white hat hacker reward.
What are you basing that on?
Well, I immediately posted to the Autodesk Slack and was like, hey, so this real bad thing happened, and I'm pretty sure I didn't do it, which was weird. First of all, to like, have you ever had a crash where the operator didn't cause it? Because I haven't.
No.
And so a couple of the developers immediately jumped in and were like, ooh, yeah, that's in every Fanic post, and Matt Sura and a couple others in our repository. So somehow nobody else has done safe start with like multiple tool, like whatever that clause is, seems to be flawed, and they're like on a fast fix binge. But the other side of that is like, I didn't realize there was a place to look for change notes for posts in Fusion. I never even thought about it. I never would have thought like my working post was needing updates, because I don't pull them down. I just use the one always.
You just pull it and use it, right?
Yep. So I put a link to where you can check for those. So I'm sure they'll fix it after this. Today is October 26th. But if you use a Fanuc or a Matsura or a Sill or a couple others, supposedly most of those, if you're using safe start all operations, you can crash your machine because it puts the offsets out of order, the correct code parameters. So fun afternoon. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I was making such good progress too, and it just like shattered my world for a while.
Yeah. It's so disconcerting. I've only ever had very minor post issues, but just like really little things like not 2D contours. The other one, the one that fills the space, what's that called?
That's 3D printing, Jim. 3D parallel, maybe, or like adaptive clearing?
No, it's just a 2D
face.
2D pocket.
Let's guess all the operations.
Yeah. I had a post issue on Cameron where just had some really weird glitches where pockets would, simulated right, but then the cut, depending on the part geometry, it would just step down in weird little ways, kind of like Ghost in the Machine. It wasn't a big deal. Didn't lose anything, didn't break tools, but like so disconcerting to have a machine like misbehave.
It is.
Because
it's really
of a post issue.
Really strange. Like, I'm not trying to over exaggerate this, but I legit felt like I saw like a car crash for a bit. Like, no, obviously nobody died. And it just such adrenaline, and like it shook the floor. Like, it was just very jarring. I don't understand. Like, if it comes out of this unscathed, except for like a little bit of Z change, which did bolts move? Did I stretch the casting? I don't really know. Like, not good. I'll be pretty surprised if nothing's really wrong with it for how hard it is. I sent you, not that you have to watch it right now, but some photos and a video of it happening.
Cool. Thanks. Don't know if I want to hear that noise again. Like the lo-fi version of it coming through this is frightening. So where's it at now? Are you just still resetting everything?
Yeah. This morning I was between talking with Autodesk and going through, I'd gotten kind of a nice checklist from Al at Fusion on what I was like, I don't even know where to start here. Like, what am I checking? Like, I'm sure you kind of have to be around a crash to know what to check for, I think. And I never had anything to this extent. Just, dial indicated that like the machine to like the table, which I never had before in that way. And like then checked the palette to see if it had moved off of, but it's like dead on, like indicator like doesn't even move when I'm sweeping it. I checked. I'm just now currently in the state of going through each tool, logging what it said in a spreadsheet for tool heights, and then measuring it again. And they're averaging almost exactly 6 thou. Every one of them. Like it'll be like 4 thou, 6 thou.
Something's moved, huh?
If this was like a Kern or something pricey, this would be many digits to fix, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, how's your week?
Well, nothing of that level of excitement by any means. I guess that's good. Yeah. No crashes. We did have a machine down over the weekend. Had a tiny little part under Trinity. Trinity's kind of got more advanced vacuum hold down than Cameron.
Oh.
And she's got vacuum zones. Cameron's just like all in, hoovering the full surface, whereas Trinity we can select, I think, quadrants.
Oh, interesting.
Sorry, microphone. Can select quadrants which is actually really, really useful because you can kind of just switch on the bottom left quadrant and get like amazing full power just in one spot. But yeah, one of the solenoids that controls one of the zones dropped out on the Wednesday or Thursday last week. So we had, I think, two days with that machine down, waiting for a tech to come out and replace a $2 part. So we now have some spares of the little cheap part that we can replace ourselves.
Oh, it's cheap.
Next time. The part itself, I'm exaggerating. It's not a $2 part, but yeah, it's a small, just pneumatic solenoid that failed. So we should be able to do that ourselves next time, because I think that's the second or third time one of those has failed.
I feel like I hear those, maybe it's like Saunders talking about it, but that those failed somewhat frequently. But maybe that's not true. I don't know. They're pretty simple little things.
Yeah. Anyway, so Trinity was down for a few days, and Trinity is kind of our main production machine these days, while Cameron's been locked up machining this acoustic panel job.
Oh, yeah.
We've had a lot of work doing that contract machining of that acoustic wood wool stuff this month. Heaps more than usual. So Cameron's pretty much just been a dedicated set up, making a mess, machining that nonsense. And so, yeah, losing our main production machine was a bit of a hindrance this month, but I think Johnny's catching up now, getting back on track. And yeah, we've been a little bit short-staffed with people away, but hasn't been too bad. John's been keeping a handle on production management with Ben overseas at the moment. And production's going pretty well.
That's good.
Kind of smoothly, which is, still feels weird to me when things are just like going smoothly. What's wrong? What have we missed?
Enough people to pay attention to all of it.
Yeah, just could do with another couple of people at the moment, but they'll be back soon. Otherwise, what are we doing? We've had a terrible month of sales.
Same. We're like half of what last was.
Yeah.
That was like one of our best months ever. So, but that's like so characteristic of like, I just swear I'm always 2 years ago, maybe before pandemic, where it was just like steady. We'd get the same amount every month ish, maybe a couple thousand off. Now it's just.
Yeah. I reckon we're seeing greater variability too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's a market thing. It really depends who you talk to. Like some people are like, oh yeah, of course, it's because of the economy, blah, 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 blah. Spending habits. And then other people are like, nope. I don't know what's going on. I haven't changed my spending habits. So
did we ever talk about this? I don't know where. I think I found it on TikTok, maybe. But I found this marketer. It's called Stacked Marketer. I'll put a link to it if you're interested. I don't read it all, but it's like a daily email for marketers, which I barely find myself approaching that. They often have really interesting, like, kind of big announcement news about, like, Instagram's going to start doing this, or like just that kind of stuff. Nice. Or like, you should look at this type of new, reel ad, or TikTok is now doing this creepy thing, or
that's the kind of thing I need to sign up to.
It's a lot, honestly. Like I barely skim. Usually I like scan it, but sometimes there's some really good stuff in there. But I think yesterday it said 3 a.m. today. The subject's slowing. Good morning. It's slowing down. A big number of tech companies shared their Q3 earnings this week. There's some good and bad news. The bad, Google's advertising revenue dropped, Microsoft's dropped, Spotify dropped. So it seems like it's not just us that have weird slowness.
Yeah.
I guess that's not even weird.
No. Just is, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, slow month there. We've got a couple of days left, so we've done a little campaign, put free shipping on everything yesterday, so I'll try and promote that today to get a few more web sales in the door. And what else? Yeah, just chasing up a few custom leads to try and close those out for the end of the month. But yeah. I don't know. feel like I'm just sort of in a world of social media metrics and Premiere. I had like crazy fever dreams on the weekend. I think I must have been fighting a bug or something. My daughter was sick and I must have got a bit of what she had, and Saturday and Sunday night I just had these horrible cyclical fever dreams of like, Descript, Premiere. Why am I editing in Premiere? I should be editing in Descript. And it was just like this cycle of like Descript, Premiere, Descript, like all night long. It's pretty horrible. Anyway, I got in Monday and I was like, okay, maybe I should do something about that. And I ran some dropped the same 4K footage into Prem and into Descript and was just comparing sort of functionality and playback speed. And Descript was struggling, to be honest. It takes some time for the clips to kind of load process. Or process or whatever they're doing in the magic Descript cloud. And also then the just editing playback with that 4K footage was a little bit slow and clunky, whereas in Prem, I'm finding on this computer in Prem, it's just like, boom, perfect playback. I can scrub. It's quite fast, but I do really like the editing workflow in Descript though.
So I don't fast. Know. Like the speed of it's totally different to edit a podcast than like one of our marketing videos where it's more, like you're thinking more and like, oh, I got to put this clip here. It's just, speed through it basically. But like the speed of which you can cut stuff out and like move through it. Like I love the zoom and like using the keyboard commands and
it works so beautifully with even just little things like trackpad functionality versus mouse functionality is just like really intuitive in Descript, whereas in Premiere, like zoom is a bit weird and like unresponsive. Anyway.
It sucks when I'm like, I usually end up editing the podcast in bed with inverted color mode because I'm like, oh, I got to edit this tonight. And it just chews through battery compared to everything else, which is surprising. Excuse me.
Oh dear. No, I can't talk. My editing is usually late at night too.
Yeah. Speaking of, we're trying to change that. How are we trying to change that?
Oh. You just slipped into like Justin script mode.
We are trying to change that. I've been reading a script the whole time. What do you mean?
Should we shout out to our inaugural?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that appropriate?
Yeah. He's been a good supporter of everything I've done lately.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's a good dude.
Well, if he's your dude.
Oh.
Thank you, Scott.
Over
to you, Justin.
So we're starting a Patreon. We've started a Patreon for Parts Department, and this isn't like some money grab because podcasts don't usually make money, right? Especially these kinds. So there's a few costs with the show, hosting and editing software and our time to do it, which we kind of just wash away. But it is a lot of time, and we're trying to find enough money here so that we can have a podcast editor so that we don't have to do it anymore because we enjoy doing it. We enjoy talking, but it is a decent amount of time to make an output every month. So we have a few tiers that for what you're comfortable with, and there'll be a link below, but one of which I think my favorite tier is at $10 or higher, you get a secret show episode, which will be, I think we're thinking like every month, and it'll be, you've had a lot of thoughts about, what do you think we'll have in the secret show?
I would like to just go a bit more in depth with financial stuff, because something that frustrates me in life, but particularly in this sort of content, is people not going quite deep enough for my liking or not sharing things. And so I'd like to be able to sort of share a bit more about, how much did we spend on digital marketing last month and what did that result in, which I don't always feel comfortable going to that level of detail in a regular episode. But perhaps in that sort of bonus content episode with a much smaller audience, then that would be a fun thing to touch on. So for me, it's talking finances in more depth.
Yeah. Or maybe like sharing the intimate details of how your machine crashed. Which I already did, but
Even
hopefully that
more
just doesn't happen
intimate.
again. Yeah. Bring you inside.
Come
Yeah,
inside
so
the
I don't
middle
know.
room with Justin.
We've been kind of teasing the details of it for trying to figure out, how to make it something that you all would want to support. And, we're a fairly small show, but we get a lot of comments from people appreciating it. So we like to think of it. I think we've talked about this. It's like business therapy for Gemini. And I guess my pitch to you is like, this is a very cheap business therapy for you as well. Hopefully it's way cheaper than hiring a consultant if you support a Patreon for a podcast. So make it a donation that's expensible.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you to Scott Bennett of Housefish Design.
Thank you, Scott. First, we had some stories and he was the first to jump on it without any question, which is how he has been supporting our new products too. I think he has a Shop Saver similar to ours, and he's bought a couple of our newest things within a couple minutes of them going live. So I've appreciated that.
Awesome. Super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the other thing I'd say, we're not intending to change the show. Don't freak out.
No.
This is going to stay the same. We're just going to probably go a little deeper on a few things. The other option, I think the highest tier we have right now at $25, there's going to be, all right. So at Don's DeBurrs at $25 a month, have a quarterly hangout as well. So does Gems Robots at $10 a month. So the $25 a month also gets you random surprises, which we can't tell you about, obviously, because then they wouldn't be random. But pick what you feel comfortable with, and we appreciate it either way.
Yeah. No, any support would be amazing to feed the editing
Beast.
The editing effort. Yeah, the beast.
Don's getting tired.
Cool. Poor Don. Poor Don.
It's coffee time.
Yeah. I made
Anyway.
2 coffees this morning. I've got them lined up on my desk. For one gets cold, I can work onto the next. No, it's mine. So I went to a trade show yesterday.
Was it local?
No, I was in Melbourne. Well, I guess that's local, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems local
No,
enough, I guess.
Local enough. Yeah, I went to a trade show about waste, which was interesting. It was
Tell me
kind
more.
of, it was big boy waste, big recycling,
Big
plant, soil reclamation, shredders for like huge metal, recycling lines and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool to see a bunch of sort of big industry stuff, but also had some good conversations with people about, met a couple of companies that potentially take something like our sawdust product, whether it's pre-compost or post-compost, but like people that could potentially deal with the volume of sawdust that we generate.
That's cool.
People that sell shredders, some of which were potentially small enough or suitable for us to be able to, because we're holding all the sawdust that we generate with the aim to compost it, turn it into soil. But then we're still putting, all the smaller, useless little scraps of plywood and stuff in the bin, which is going to landfill, which we ultimately want to get rid of landfill completely.
Yeah.
And one way to do a vast majority of that would be to shred all those smaller offcuts down to a size that they could then be fed into the compost stream if we can get this compost thing up and running. So yeah, getting some prices on shredders. I think the cheapest one was about $40,000, but it was good to see one operating and get a sense of scale and investment and stuff like that. I'm sure there's cheaper options out there, which might be more suitable for us. But
So this could intake like plywood and like chunk it up into like, then could you like compact it? Or is that a completely different type of machine? It's also $40,000.
That's another 40K, I think. No, this just shreds it. So, like when you're packing a bin with random offcuts off the CNC, it tends to be pretty inefficient in terms of space.
Yes. Yeah.
So first and foremost, it would just reduce our volume. It's not like we're throwing out any less, but it would reduce the volume in the bin, which is a small bonus.
Yeah.
But then the main thing for us would achieve is just being able to switch where that waste output's actually going and put it into our compost stream. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. They had like a clean energy expo next door, so I had a quick look at some like 3-phase battery systems that could potentially be tacked onto our solar system here, because at the moment we feed excess solar back to the grid, but we get a very small return for that feed in. So if we could store that energy and use it ourselves, it would be much more valuable. So down the track, I'd love to get a battery pack, but it's a big investment.
Very expensive, yeah.
So yeah.
Did they put this expo on for you specifically? Because it seems like it's very suited to your interests.
No, there were heaps of people there. Like,
that's good.
It was interesting walking in and trying not to be like, I'm not a cynical person, but like in this sort of area, a little part of me goes like, oh, there's so much money in this. You can just smell the money, like the sort of people trying to capitalize on the sort of clean energy movement, but also just like how to put more shit in the ground for less money, like
differently. Yeah. How to bury shit differently.
But yeah, that's good. Good. It was just nice to get away from the workshop too.
Oh man, I bet.
Take a jaunt by myself in the car. Had no other appointments. I dropped in, had a cup of tea with Sarah in the Melbourne office. Had a nice chat. It was good to see her in a native habitat, and it was a good day.
Sounds nice. It's nice that you can like do that and not feel that, if you've got the situation, which we've talked about at length, how you aren't integral. You're not running the machines every day, right? Like you can leave and stuff's fine and people are getting stuff done, and it's nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty useless. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why you got the Cubby.
The Cubby. I'm designing some new Cubbies actually. Having been enjoying my Cubby so much, I want everyone else to have a Cubby.
Please tell me you're building like small portable offices.
Almost.
They all come with a piano that plays sound clips.
No, our main client, who I've talked about a little bit, we have weekly design sessions together, which often end in whiskey. And
I see why you like them now.
Yeah. We just hang out in his child's cubby and drink whiskey at the end of the day.
What?
It's a good thing. No, we've been working on, we share a lot of IP. So like his product design feeds into ours and ours feeds into his. It's kind of one of the few client relationships where I'm quite happy sharing like threading and clip crate technology to sort of assist, because it's very bi-directional. Anyway, what was I going to say? We were working on I'm doing some work on the office here to try and make it a bit more useful for the guys. Now that we have quite a, heavy admin component to our business, like Jay, Aaron spends a lot of time in the office doing sales. Jay's full-time in the office. Like, I'd like to make the office a little bit nicer because it's always just been really ad hoc, and I'd like to give people a little bit more sort of sound privacy and just like the ability to put blinkers on and focus when they need to. So I've been working on some little like office pod things using threaded dowel and woven cells. So it's been a fun little project, and I'll try and prototype one of those in the coming week, I think.
Yeah.
Good.
Very fun.
Yeah. What are you guys making at the moment? What's Ricky working on?
We are making more dust boots.
Great.
Just had a rash of sales in the last couple of days, which is nice. And we were just about out. Okay. And they just go in spurts. It's like, I swear, it's like they get seen at the same time, or I don't know what happens, but making those.
Are you keeping the printers busy?
We were ahead for a bit there, so they've been sitting. They'll probably start up again. We only have basically one working one. I'm still working with Prusa on trying to get the other one to work again. So it's been good to have two. And actually the second one is now having Y crashes as well. And
oh no,
I don't understand like what causes this, because it's not the same files. And just like suddenly it had like 50 Y crashes. I don't know. And they like Prusa's support's there and helpful. They're always willing to help, but you can sit for an hour and go through all the same diagnostic checks and like tests. And then like I have to leave, or Ricky's got to go work another job, or like we get to this place where like, well, check on this and come back to us. And then we have to like kind of start over the next time with a new person. It's like never consistent, which is, I get it, but it's also like, man, there's got to be some better way that we've been working on this for like seemingly like 6 weeks. Cause it's like whenever we have enough time, somebody will jump into fixing that again. And my fix of the week is now the mill. So hopefully it's fine and we'll move forward. I guess, here's a question just to come back to that. This is the thing I keep thinking about. I mean, we're pretty, not to steal from the secret show, but we're pretty, cash tight right now with like waiting for a new product and spending a lot of R&D money on the new product stuff, thinking it was going to be out, which it's not, as I thought in October. Would you, if you were me, have a tech come in to look at this thing at this point?
Gut feeling, quick response, no. And I think because, if you're cash tight, I don't know. It's not crucial. Like, it's not like you've got a product. I know it's crucial to this new product line, but it's not like you've got a product line that was already in production on the machine.
Yeah. That'd be different for sure.
Then you'd be like, right, how do I get this back online as quickly as possible? But because you're still in that kind of pre-launch R&D mode to some extent, I guess that gives you a little bit more time, whether you want to spend that time or not.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, what we would suffer from is accuracy, or like, I don't think there's anything that could be further broken because the spindle sounds great.
Great.
So I think it could be just more like tweaking diagnostic stuff that I don't fully understand. And it seems, I'm hoping by the end of the day, I'll know whether or not cutting more stuff came out right. But I also don't like have a CMM to check all of it anyway. So I never was planning on that kind of thing.
Like if it sounds all right and sort of checking out mechanically, then like why not just get it back online and run parts?
That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah.
As quickly as possible. Like get it cutting chips again as quickly as possible so you can verify. And then if you find anything really weird, then you...
Yeah. Which...
Then you call the techs in.
Yeah. I can even...
Yeah.
Still, my probably least capable machinist skills are metrology. I just don't have a lot of metrology tools. And also it just wasn't really a thing with the router. So I spent most of my years not being concerned with any other than like a cheap caliper. Nobody cared. So I think my concern at this point is I was in the middle of making a fixture that I have to like, I'm bringing the height down on all of it and leaving one of those areas that the bits, I'll probably share some photos, but the bit is injected into, and I'm just, luckily that was just an extra alignment pin area for this bar that goes on it. But my concern is like, if this machine isn't square and like tight now and I'm making a fixture, then everything after that is shit potentially. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just kind of got to roll with it, I guess.
It's got a probe in it, right? You've got a Renshaw or something. Can you put one of your pallets that you've already made back in it and probe it?
Probably.
To try and work out if there's anything.
Yeah.
Like, because that's kind of the pallet you've just made is kind of a known dimension, should be known location on the bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
if you could then probe
that, I can tell. It seemed to have stretched.
Verify that. Stretched. Other than that Z stretch, maybe you could verify like X, Y, and variance in Z by probing the pallets that you've just made. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe somebody has some ideas. I'm going to keep... Autodesk has been pretty helpful, and I'll keep reaching out to other people, I think, that have experience smashing machines and what to do with them. So other than that, I was like crushing it. I felt like I just felt like I made a ton of base parts, like 9 different parts in one day, like on Friday. It was just like, I made all of the sizes and all of the new parts we needed in like 2/3 of a day, which was crazy fast for how fast I was moving with all the rest of it. With just like, I don't know, it just suddenly clicked, and that last pallet of fixtures just went super well. And so I was moving on to the next one and had this weird issue. So anyway.
Yeah.
You want to support the Boys of the Parts Department podcast, right? Starting right now, you can go show your support on Patreon. Jem and Justin consider this their weekly therapy. You should too. Even Tony Soprano went to therapy. Where else will you hear the screaming wails of a YCM mill collet deep in some aluminum? Hoo-yah! CNC machines, businesses, Airtable, Fusion 360, timber milling. Stop fiddling with your bits and put some money down. You can expensive it as your business therapy. $10 a month gets you the secret show and the quarterly hangout. Too rich? Sign up at $5 a month. Just do it now.
What's on the threadboard? Are you...
Not much. Not much at all. I haven't, it's been really failing to make time for R&D. I've been quite focused on making videos for like web and marketing purposes, which feels crazy. What am I doing?
I mean, I can see both sides though. It's like both are what you're supposed to be doing, and like, I suppose if I would use your medicine against you that you've injected into me is do a little of both each day.
Yeah,
which has been helpful, and I've kind of ignored. I've basically been completely locked into like finished pedestals, but like you know, when I do the little bit every day, I do feel like that's the best outcome of how I can work and how I feel. I feel like I've done all the right things every day versus when I'm just like sucked into one process. I'm like, oh, what did I do? I'm like, you feel like you're like unconscious a little bit.
Yeah. No, I'm in that space at the moment, just a little bit too obsessive about it. And then at the same time, trying to keep myself consistent. So like when I have those doubts about like, what am I doing just making Instagram videos for a job? This is crazy. It's like, no, Jem, it's only been a couple of weeks. Just hang tight, head down, keep going.
Are they working? That was the question.
But I need to reset my default diary. Well, I mean, nothing really is working in sales at the moment, so who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I got heaps of things on my to-do list and some fun ones on there too. So boom.
I had a weird thought the other day as we were packaging up all the duck towers that we shipped, which was sweet. All the first round went out yesterday, and the UPS driver pulled up to pick up, and I had accidentally mistaken which day I was shipping some of them. So he thought he was picking up 3, and he was like, oh no, I need to go get the truck. And I was like, yeah. But I was thinking about, this is kind of a next level, probably maybe something that you could get into. We were talking about job costing, and I kind of relate that to how I price products and the profitability of them, especially related to like this stack of unprofitable products. And in particular, when you have a more complicated to package prep for shipping product, like that almost has to be accounted for in the cost of the product, right? Like,
absolutely.
And it's like something that you were saying you don't account for your packaging costs, but it's like, I will do like a vague number of packaging costs, but I've never consciously thought like, oh, it's taking Ricky 2/3 a day to pack all these boxes. That's not accounted for in any way, you know, like cost wise. It's just kind of always been like, oh, I'll do it, you know?
Yeah, you got to get that time in there. I mean, I can't talk. Yeah, as you say, we've excluded CNC time for carton cutting, which is silly, but certainly that time that it takes to package a product bundle, put it in a carton, even just like booking the courier, getting the customer details right, booking the courier, like all of that just eats time. We've gotten better at it over the years, and we have more templates, you know, like where we log in and book the jobs and stuff like that, but still. Yeah. It eats hours and has to be part of the product price, I reckon.
It's an interesting, we made some pretty cool packaging for those parts. I accidentally ordered catering boxes for the duck towers to ship in. So it looks like we shipped lasagnas to people with like our packaging tape on it. It ended up working great because if you just would have put some paper in there, they would have smashed around and hit each other, and like I was saying last week. So it came out perfect. My friend Chester cut us some cardboard for it, and Ricky designed it. It's folded up, and it went out super well. I guess I've only heard one person that has received it locally so far, so I'm hoping it gets to everybody. It just struck me. I was like, man, so if you had a really complicated to pack product, it absolutely is costing more than, anyway, I'm rehashing, but it hit me.
No.
The first time.
I get you. Yeah. How do you do your product pricing? Are you in just a spreadsheet or what?
Make a spreadsheet. I kind of usually copy like the most recent or one that makes sense, and then most of those things tend to work, and then I update the things that don't, and don't update it frequently, but although, the cost of things has changed so much, all over the place, that it feels like you need to kind of keep updating it more often now than I used to.
Yeah.
Like we sold one of those CNC carts that we've had on our shop. Somebody bought like 2 of them.
Oh, yeah.
Which was random because we never sell them. And they had Baltic or like Russian birch pricing from birch pricing from like pre-pandemic that cost of. So I literally had to it was like one of the first times I just emailed the customer. I was like, I can't take this order. Sorry. Like we would be paying you to take this. And I updated the price, and it seemed kind of like a scam almost, because like the person never responded at all. Anyway, maybe they just didn't see it, but you would have thought if they bought something and then it didn't ship, they would be concerned too. But anyway, it almost doubled in cost. Because of that.
Yes, gone are the days of Baltic birch. Yeah, we've got all of our product pricing in Airtable, which at times feels like a real chore, but it's from in that respect of being able to keep it updated with changing material prices, because it's all linked to our inventory. It's been really good. Just being able to cross-check and look at the variance of like, cool, hoop bone just went up 5%. What does that do to this product? Okay, it's still within the right margin. Let's not fiddle with that price for now, but review it again in 6 months and see.
Does it go as far as each product pulls in its own cost and that gets fed into Shopify?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It's manually pushed to Shopify. Like we have to, it doesn't, if a material price gets updated in inventory, it's not like Shopify. It suddenly gets new prices. We have to consciously go, right, we're going to update the 5 upright set of shelves, push this one, because that one's now, we're losing money on that or whatever it is. But yeah, it is all linked, which is nice. Just a little overwhelming at time.
That's where I always find myself. Like we tried to do that with Knackwall, which frankly, like Andy built it and it was he did nothing wrong, but it was so complicated to mess with that I just never touched it. I think I've talked about this before. So now everything, the way I'd always done it, which I would like this Airtable system, but frankly, if it's going to stifle me from working on a new product now, I'm just like, nah, I'll make a spreadsheet, a Google Sheet. I can update it anytime. And it's not linked in any fancy ways. It's super easy to modify and edit and create. And it's all a little bit more manual, but we don't have a million things. I'm sure at some point that'll become a problem, but just hasn't been worth it to try. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I would like it to be a little better than that.
Yeah.
Ricky's here.
Hello. Ricky. What's my applause button?
Hey. Okay.
Beer.
I don't really have anything else, I guess.
Cool. Beer.
Pretty good.
Sounds good. Nice. This is where I wish I could just play us out with a little sonnet.
Oh my God. That'd be amazing. You could just have a song that looks like piano playing and you're just like miming it.
Play like Elton Jim.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure there's a function for that. Cool. All right. Well, are you back to the mill?
Yeah, I'm going to finish measuring tools and then make sure that my pallet remachining works. I don't want to cut carbide with carbide. I don't think that works very well. But it pulled it so far in there and it broke that I actually can machine on top of it and not hit it, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
And somehow it didn't, like the first thing Ricky said when he came in is like, did it hit the Pearson base? And I was like, picked it up and I was like, oh my God, it didn't go through. Like it just, it's going to be entombed in that.
Yep. Forever. Always staring at you.
Yeah. Anyway, if you have advice on recovering your mill from a crash, I'd love to hear it. And look for your Fanuc and Matsura, Sil, Syntec, Ethereal, Halio. I don't know what some of these are, but those are all ones that potentially have this flaw. So look in the notes if you have one of these machines, because you could also crash your machine, unfortunately.
Good. Well, I hope you get that Autodesk trophy, and
I would like a trophy.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye.
It just keeps going. Just keeps going.